Today I want to talk about a topic that I've seen quite a bit of on YouTube lately, and it's probably a wee bit controversial. It is on family estrangement. Now, I know there are lots of families around the world for various reasons where there is some sort of an estrangement going on between members of the family. Maybe it's between brothers and sisters, sisters and sisters, brothers and brothers, parents and their kids, adult kids. And I hear so many stories, and you only generally hear the one side of why this occurs, even though the person that is giving the talk will often give the opinion that they either don't understand what's happened, or they feel that there is something wrong with the other person's, the estranged person's, either personality or just something that's perhaps the other person has done that's brought the situation on. Now, I can understand that point of view from people who are estranged, especially if they believe that they are not the ones that, I wouldn't say are at fault, but have caused the estrangement in the first place. I believe if you are the one that caused it and you are at fault, you're not going to get on YouTube and start talking about estranged relationships within families and, pour your heart out to everyone and say, well, it was my fault, blah, blah, blah. That's just not going to happen. What I do see a lot of is either people saying that they're not prepared to move forward, or they've tried and it hasn't worked. They've reached out and it hasn't worked. And maybe there's been times where somebody's reached out to them and they've rejected that advancement. And I can understand that. I had the same situation myself, and I won't sort of go into details, but I had that same situation myself where two of us in the family had a difference of opinion over something, and we never spoke for a number of years. And I sort of felt that it wasn't my fault, and here we go, me not taking the blame. But other family members agreed that it was the other person that probably had a wee bit more to do with it than I did. I know that everybody's got their own personalities. No two people agree on everything, whether they're family or whether they're not family. People often believe that what they think and the things that they do are the correct and right way that things should be done. Other people have a totally different view of that, and I can understand that. The only thing is with family, when it is a member of your family, whether it's a close family or a little bit, sort of a once removed or something like that, family is family, and you've got blood ties there that are never going to go away. If it's a person, just in a friend or an acquaintance that you've had a difference of opinion with, and suddenly you don't particularly, or over a period of time, you've decided that they're not the sort of really person that you want to hang out with or have much to do with, that's quite fine. You can either have a talk to them and say, look, I don't think that we probably need to, interact or hang around together, or for whatever reason, I don't think this relationship's going to work. You can do that if there's no familial ties there. And you can just both go off in your own directions. I mean, we've probably all done that over the years. People that we've maybe thought were friends, and, that friendship's just drifted apart for various reasons. But you don't think of it as being an estranged relationship. You only get into that situation when it's a member of the family, because no matter how hard you try, you cannot remove that blood relationship. It's going to be there. It's going to be there forever. And even if you try to move beyond that, it's always going to be there. Someone may bring it up at some stage, and it's always going to be there. Now, what happened in my situation is that the member of my family that I could say, semi-estranged from, a few months ago just reached out to me, and I previous to that, I thought, never really wanted to, cared, even if we never sort of spoke again or whatever. But when this person reached out to me, I felt, why shouldn't I respond and accept that reaching out? Because no matter what I think or what I thought was the cause or the reason or the fault or whatever word you want to give it, we only die once. And once that happens, it's all over. And I thought, life's too short to carry around feelings of animosity. And I guess I just decided that even though it didn't really bother me that we weren't really on speaking terms, once the lines of communication were once again opened, it sort of gave me just a comfortable feeling of thinking, it's not just the two of us that are affected, it's all of our families. And each of them in their own way has been somehow affected by it. And as long as it continues, it's going to be affecting other people in the family. So I was quite happy to put aside and put behind me everything that had gone on in the past. I tried to be the bigger person. I don't know, it's really hard to describe how I felt, but I know there was other family members had tried to sort of help to bridge that gap between us. And I think that was partly responsible for the reaching out in the first place. And so I felt that I really couldn't reject other families' efforts to try to heal sort of like a wound that even though you felt was covered up and forgotten about, it wasn't. It still lay open. And even though others had tried to, help to heal that, I don't think it would have ever healed. But by accepting the outreach from this person and just thinking, yeah, the past is past. You can't change it. As long as when we go forward, it's on an amicable relationship. We don't go back to past events because that would be a silly thing to do, to reopen up a wound. And so based on that, I think we're both quite happy to move forward and enjoy the relationship that exists. And I'm pretty sure too, it's given a bit of other family members a little bit of peace of mind to know that there has been some healing and that the process is on the way to probably not getting back to normal, but as close as it ever will be. And so when I hear about people that have got estranged family members, if you're the one that maybe had something to do with the estrangement in the first place, take a few minutes to think about it and wonder whether or not it's worth just reaching out to try and open those lines of communication again. Now, I know everybody has different reasons for family estrangements, and I know that it can range from just basic family disagreements, but it can also come into abuse and things like that. Now, I'm not suggesting that people who have been abused try to reach out to their abuser if they feel, I think they probably feel justified in not reaching out and not having a relationship. I'm talking about the ones that are more, maybe each party isn't really quite sure why, what happened, and over the years it's just got worse and worse, and they've become more distant. And I'd just like to, suggest that if you are in a position where you can reach out, if you're prepared to put the past behind you, and that other person is prepared to put the past behind you, agree to disagree, but don't carry it forward any further, then maybe just worth that effort, just try and reach out. And if you're on the other end of it, where you perhaps feel that you weren't at fault, or someone else reaches out to you to try and mend those broken fences, rather than immediately reject them, have a think about what it might do for your future, their future, your family's future, if you were able to get back into a situation of having lines of communication open once again. As I said, you're a long time dead. And once you reach that stage, there's no ever going back. So if you often think maybe it would be nice just to be able to reach out, you may have to think of what would be a good way to do it. You don't want to be ambushing somebody at a time when they're not really prepared for it. Just make perhaps a gentle approach and see if they are interested in getting into some sort of dialogue, to try and not understand so much what the issue was, but agree to put it behind you and move forward. I think that would be really good. I get really saddened when I hear there are so many people that are estranged from family members, like brothers and sisters, or mothers and or fathers and their adult children, and I think it shouldn't be like that. If there's any chance to try and resurrect that relationship, I just implore people to take a little bit of effort and see what you can do. The thing is too that the world's in such upheaval at the moment. There's enough globally going on to cause distress to anyone wherever they are. Why not try to at least heal something that you can have some control over? Because globally, an individual has little or no influence at all on any situation that's going on around them. But if it's an estrangement, a family disruption, or something like that, at least it gives you a little bit of power to think, I've got a little bit of control over this, not much, but I can have some input into this. Maybe it would be really good to try and make that movement towards some sort of reconciliation. And, with the end of 2025 not too far away, how great would it be to think that there was so much achievement made in mending broken fences and, estranged relationships, relationships that have been fractured, conversations that have been non-existent. How good would it be to be able to open up those lines of communication and think, yeah, especially if you're older and the estrangement has been sort of like a fairly recent thing. And I mean, I'm saying, I'm 75. If it's been something over the last 10 or 15 years, you've got to remember all the years leading up to that time. There was obviously good times had. Do you really want to turn your back on those experiences and think, right, that's it, not going back? Or would you really like to try and think, maybe I can do a little bit just to make myself feel a bit better, that I've had some influence in getting a relationship rebuilt and on the way back to being repaired again. So based on that, it's just something that I've been thinking about. I have seen a few YouTube videos lately of estranged family members, and they always seem to be that there's going to be no going back. And from my experience, I just ask, would you be prepared to make an effort and just see if you can repair a relationship? If anybody is watching this and they've had an experience of being able to mend a fractured or an estranged relationship, I'd love to hear from you. And those that are thinking about it, I'd like to hear from you as well. So on that note, I'll finish this video. I will wish everybody a happy weekend coming up. I ask you all just to stay safe, take care, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.